All right, I want to see a show of hands. How many people here at your current job or previous job had to submit a photocopy of your passport or driver's license? All right, almost everybody, as it should be, because this is required by law. Anybody who didn't raise their hand is not listening. So, Concept Blossom is my company, and our product is called Synctuary. Synctuary is a file sync and share application. You may be familiar with things like Dropbox, Google Drive. We are a competitor. And our main value add is the security, the fact that we actually have security. We have a Mac application, a Windows application, a Linux application. If you install it on multiple computers, you set a folder inside your computer to synchronize to the server, which synchronizes with all your other devices, synchronizes with other users. So every time one of you creates a file or creates a directory, modifies a file, everybody's instantly synchronized with each other. You're always up to date with each other. So everybody knows, don't email passwords, don't email your social security number, don't email your private information. How many of you asked your HR department when you submitted your photocopy of your passport whether or not they were storing it or transmitting it securely? Nobody, right? So the issue here is every company has access to important information that could potentially destroy your business if it was leaked, right? So you have IT credentials, root passwords, SSH keys, SSL certs. Human Resources has photocopies of your passport, has your financial and personal information. This kind of information is very sensitive. Everybody knows that in email it's insecure because thousands of employees at the ISP can access the routers, the servers, the storage. Whatever goes across the mail server, other people have access to that information. And never mind the people that are supposed to have access to it, they are also exposed to the internet and they can be hacked. Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, OneDrive are also not private. I cannot say they're not secure. They do have strong security, they encrypt in flight, they encrypt at rest. The problem is the fact they have access to the encryption keys or the passwords or both. So their employees have access to the information. They're required by law to share information with the government upon request. The fact that they have to share information with the government means that when they get requests for information, they don't want it to cost them $1 million and 20 days of labor to extract some guy's information out of a server. So they have to make it easily accessible to themselves. So take it as given that they have to provide information to the government, and therefore they have to make it easily accessible by themselves. There's no secret about this. My favorite references are Google's and Dropbox transparency reports that they put right up on their websites. 60,000 requests per year for information from Google alone. 70% result in handing over data. Dropbox, 80% of the time, that doesn't tell you that anybody has requested your data and that they've given it to anybody. And Box, General Legal Counsel, has actually come out on the record and said that 10% of the time they don't even bother pushing back on the request at all. They just hand it right over. So you get the idea. These guys are also not secure. I'm going to move on because we need to catch up on time here. Synctuary, your files, your privacy. So Synctuary is our product, and the thing that we do different is in our transmission of passwords and encryption keys. So we created a product called CDCrypt, which is a cryptographic library that takes your username and password client side and generates it into a asymmetric key pair. So it has a public component and a private component. So only the public component gets exposed to the server, and that means that you can authenticate to the server. The server is able to identify that you know your password even though the server doesn't know your password. You can encrypt all your traffic and store it on the server, and the server can relay all of your encrypted traffic, and the server has absolutely no idea what it's talking about. So that's a really cool feature. Synctuary is presently available now. It's available right now as a software product, so if you have IT staff, you can download it and run your own server. Coming soon, we're also going to have a hosted solution available so that small businesses can come along and just subscribe to the number of users that they want to subscribe to and have a hosted service. And so I think I'm out of time. So, questions? Yes.
So Google and Dropbox and all these huge companies with all their billions of dollars succeeded to not provide this information to the government. How come? How you not?
No, they do provide information to the government. So, so this is a legal requirement that they have to live up to.
So will you?
No, this is actually not true. So this is what it comes down to. It's the third-party doctrine. Under third-party doctrine, any information that you expose to a third party, if under a criminal investigation, if the government requests that you request the third party to surrender that information, then they're obligated to do so. If you refuse to do so, then you're obstructing justice, which is a felony. So as long as you have any kind of information that you expose to a third party, they are then obligated to make that information available upon request. So the only way that you can avoid that is to not allow any third party to have access to the information. There are two ways that you can do that precisely. You can either host it on your own servers so that it's never been exposed to any third party, and you have it all under physical security, or you can encrypt it and store it someplace, but you have you never disclose the password and encryption keys. The trouble there is how do you log into a server? How does a server authenticate you as a user if the server itself doesn't know your password? And so this is a thing that we've developed as I mentioned before, in CDCrypt, by taking your username, password, and some other stuff, turning it into an asymmetric key pair, then you are able to authenticate to the server without ever exposing your password or encryption key. Yes?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the biggest thing that you guys created is the authentication schema there, right? And I'm wondering if all of the companies that already exist would love to have what you have.
Would all those other companies love to have us? To tell the truth, we would love to be acquired by Box or Dropbox. Yeah, it's true. Yes.
Crypto software is kind of hard to get right, as evidenced by recent bugs over the past year or two in every major SSL library. So what libraries and protocols are you using, and what have you done about getting them third-party audit?
The question is, crypto software is hard to get right. How do you make sure that you get it right? And it's a very good question. So what we do is, number one, the core crypto library is released open source. I personally tour all kinds of security groups that I can possibly get into and speak about it and consult with experts all over the place, try to get buy-in and adoption and base it on well-known cryptographic primitives. So we're using things like SHA-256 and RSA and elliptic curve, Diffie-Hellman, standard libraries that are well-known, well-understood, and fundamentally, in order to get it right, you just have to use it right. So we did not invent a new block cipher or a new hash algorithm. Those types of things are best left to the international competitions where they get thoroughly reviewed by mathematicians and programmers alike and all that sort of stuff. So we're using well-known cryptographic primitives glued together in an interesting and unique way that's very easy to explain and understand. Yes. What happens if you forget or lose your password? You are unfortunately hosed. Yes.
What if I want to share the document to someone? Do I still need to send it using email, or do I have something?
What if I want to share with somebody outside my organization? So we have Synctuary is licensed on a per user basis. We have regular users and guest users. So you can create a guest user. We debated for a long time, should guest users be free? And the answer is, if you make something free, absolutely free, then it just gets abused. So we made it a very low cost, $1.50 per license for a guest user. So if you have like an accountant, for example, wants to synchronize a directory full of whatever they are, 1040s or whatever, with some particular client of the account, then the accountant is only paying $1.50 for that guest license to synchronize with their client. So yes, you absolutely can have guest users and share with people that are outside your organization. All right, time's up. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Synctuary.